To continue listening to Comedy Bronze, please turn the tape over now.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show.
That was amazing, Sean. Well done.
Yeah, I can do a song.
Welcome everybody to Comedy Bronze. We're back for week 19 of our 19-week review series of reasons.
Of things we do and don't like.
Yep. Here we are again. How was it was a big week for sports, Sean.
Yep. Sports were played.
Actually, for those of you Australian rules fans at home, Carlton suffered an historically devastating defeat.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I don't even care
to
about
that
football.
other football team.
Yeah, I don't even care about football, and I know that was bad.
Me neither. So, what's in the firing line today?
Well, we got a couple of things we can talk about.
Hang on a second. The firing line.
Okay.
I'm going to put sound effects of like gunshots and stuff.
Oh, okay. So you can sound effect your stuff, but I'm not allowed to request
You're allowed to request sound effects.
I have before, and you haven't done it.
When did you request a sound effect?
Like 3 or 4 episodes ago.
The only sound effect request of yours that I've noticed is when you wanted applause for Andy Serkis, and I put applause in.
No, there was another thing. I wanted like klaxons.
Klaxons.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have klaxons.
Oh.
They're not permitted.
Okay. Well...
Klaxons asked for Borton.
Well, I thought we might start off this week with your review, or re-review, of Civil War.
Right. Well, that's going to be slightly difficult, because I haven't actually finished rereading Civil War.
Well...
I've read all the comic books that are just called Civil War.
Of which there are...
Civil War 7.
Okay.
Civil War 1 to 7.
Right.
But there are key parts of the story missing, which I have not yet gone through.
Yeah, but you could probably remember most of that.
Yeah, I can sort of hazard a guess.
Yeah.
My overwhelming impression is that Civil War is not actually as bad as I remember it being.
Okay. So why is it that you remembered it being worse than this?
Well, I think it's because I read all 106 comics that make up its theoretical totality.
In like one go?
Yeah, last time.
Well, that sounds painful. It sounds like you were just like willingly hating on yourself.
Well, it is. It's painful to the eyes more than anything else because it's like the art styles and the level of drawing quality and stuff just all clashes horribly.
Yeah.
You just get used to looking at one type of thing. It's like, oh, no, here's another kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's not like you're even looking at that one type of colouring and art style for very long. It's like, yep, there's 20 pages of that, and now I'm in a different comic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Also, the time scale gets all chopped up. So if you just read the main series, it sort of proceeds linearly.
Yeah. How long is the whole time period?
I have no idea. It's not clear.
Oh, okay.
It's never made clear. Because it took place over like a year or something.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Yeah, well, it would have had to with that number of comics.
Yeah. What was I going to say? There's a few bits missing, which are in side books.
Right.
I think I'm going to go back. I'm going to read Frontline at least, which is Frontline is the important context comic.
Right. Okay.
Because hang on, I'll just do a slight recap for those of you who didn't listen to the earlier episode where we explained Civil War's premise.
Well, just before you go over the premise, I was going to say because there's a Marvel film coming out which incorporates stuff from this crossover series that happened in Marvel, and that's...
Oh yeah, Marvel is doing a Civil War film. I have no fucking idea why. That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
Well, maybe they'll just take all 3 of the good bits out of it and put that in the film.
Look, the biggest problem with doing it as a film is they don't have enough characters.
Right.
They do not have enough superheroes to support a Civil War movie.
Right.
A Civil War, because, it includes like 50 different books.
Yeah, it does.
And has a cast of thousands.
Yeah.
And is about this huge earth-shattering thing. Superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe do not exist as sort of a day-to-day crime-fighting force.
No.
Like, there aren't... The Fantastic Four doesn't exist. Spider-Man doesn't exist, although he will soon.
Yeah.
There aren't, like, smaller super teams all across the country. You don't really see the Avengers in public doing things unless the world is about to be threatened.
Yeah, they're pretty much, like, galactic-level incidences.
Well, they're off, punching Hydra in a forest somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, the day-to-day realities of a superhero-infested world are not emphasized in those movies.
Yeah. Although they have had...
And they need to be in order for Civil War to work.
But they have had things like when the Avengers stopped the attack on New York. So they've had that, and they also had the reveal of Hydra.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a few big events.
Yeah, so they could do a sort of Civil War, but not the Civil War which is in the comics, which Chris will now give you a rundown of.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sean.
No worries.
Excellent segue.
Thank you.
I'm going to continue pointing out your segues.
Keep it up. I bet everyone loves it.
So the basic premise of Civil War is that the American government rams a piece of legislation called the Superhero Registration Act that requires anyone who wants to fight crime in a mask to reveal their identity to the government and sign up for, training and accountability and stuff.
Yep.
Iron Man says, yeah, this is a great idea. Captain America says, no, this is a terrible idea. And then they splinter off and have a fight.
Yeah.
Is basically what Civil War is about.
Yeah. Captain America thinks it's un-American.
It's never actually clear what Captain America thinks. That is actually, reading back through it, that is the weirdest thing about Civil War.
Right.
Captain America is this strangely underwritten anti-authoritarian thug.
That doesn't sound like Captain America at all.
No, it doesn't sound like Captain America at all. And the more I got through it, I was like, are you guys sure Captain America was the hero you wanted to be leading the rebels? Like, is he the right man for this job?
Well, if anything,
because he just seems angry all the time.
I would have said Spider-Man would have made a better leader in this case.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man has an anti-authoritarian streak in him a mile wide.
Also, he's got an excuse. He actually wears a mask. Captain America doesn't.
That's true. Captain America doesn't even have a secret identity. Oh, no, but, he was sticking up for people who do.
Yeah, but that would have made more sense if at some point he joined Spider-Man's team and he was like, yeah, look, you know what? I've been on the sidelines for a while because I've been out of the game for a while. But this seems very, and I've only just read this book, big brothery. So I understood that reference. So let's stop this from happening. That's how I feel it should have gone down with that point anyway.
I think what actually happened is that they're like, okay, who are the two characters we have with the most obvious visual contrast? Iron Man, red. Captain America, blue. Right, they're the leaders of the two factions.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been which comic book heroes do we think would have the most political clout?
Yeah, or like who would have the biggest ideological objection or support for this scheme?
Which two characters have got the biggest swinging dicks that we can throw at each other?
I think it's literally it. Just they look the best on covers.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't work with Iron Man versus Spider-Man because they've got similar color.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to pick two people with opposing coloration.
Yeah. But they still have to have colors that are represented in the American flag.
Oh, absolutely. There you go, Sean. Yeah. You've nailed another level.
Oh, yeah. So the fractious elements of, like, when it goes sort of a civil war, as in a literal civil war, like the South versus the North.
The slave owners versus the yay for not slaves.
Yes, definitely. So, yeah, Civil War, was that like 10 years ago now?
Yeah, it's a while ago.
Yeah.
I think I was still finishing high school when it was coming out.
Yeah.
But, that's neither here nor there, how old it is.
No.
As I said, the main series basically holds together. It's a fairly simple narrative of Iron Man is like, registration, and Cap is like, I don't want to fight my friends.
Well,
that's the other thing, because they need Captain America to be the rebel, the outlaw.
Yeah.
Maria Hill, who I think deserves the title of worst director of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever in this comic book.
Oh.
Basically just says, hi Cap, so yeah, we've got you at gunpoint, just in case you decide you don't want to go through with the piece of legislation that we haven't really defined yet.
Okay.
And we're going to shoot you unless you go out and capture all your friends who resist.
Okay.
No one's resisted yet. Nothing has happened.
So where's...
Cap is like, I don't want to do that. They're like, well, we're going to shoot you. And then he dives out of the helicarrier like, well done, Director Hill. You successfully created the leader of the resistance.
So where's Samuel L. Jackson at this point?
Nick Fury is missing for the duration.
He does that a lot.
He kind of does.
Yeah, I feel like we don't...
Or he definitely does it here.
I feel like... Because every time I've started reading Marvel and they've had any crossover with the S.H.I.E.L.D. facet of the Marvel Universe, it's always, Director Fury's gone missing, so I'm just running the show for now. And we're a bunch of suits and we're not doing it right. And then Nick Fury shows up in the end, he's like, you're really screwing things up and I'm Nick Fury. I'll lift my eye patch and then secret spy business will happen and I'll be back in charge and I'll save the day.
I've never actually seen one where Nick Fury saves the day. I've just seen ones where people cock it up in his absence.
Yeah, well, basically, he shows up at the last second, like
He descends on a gantry from the stage ceiling.
like the
A literal Deus Ex Machina.
the gantrified White Knight. It's just, it seems very odd. Like, I haven't read Civil War. I said that I might, but I haven't got around to it yet. I haven't read it since, like, 2007. So it's been a while. And I remember being very underwhelmed with that. And that was maybe my first real interaction with comic book crossovers.
I think that is the source of most of my dislike for it.
Because it's the first interaction you had.
Yeah, and if
you
treat it as a crossover, it's not good.
No, because the thing was, you had an idea in your head of exactly how a crossover should work. You'd have a centralized theme that was affecting the entire universe, and all this cast of heroes would come together and work together to overcome it, because it was only by joining forces that they could truly defeat whatever it was.
Well, yeah, that's the sort of simplest version of a crossover you'd hope for, but more what you'd hope for is that each additional shard of the Marvel Universe that was, plugged into the story would enhance it and would benefit from it. And a lot of them don't. Like, a lot of the little tie-in stories are just bad.
Yeah.
And do nothing to help the overarching plot or the individual books. A few of them are good.
Yeah.
If you're looking for positives in the whole thing, it definitely launches a whole bunch of ideas and stories and, outgoing plot lines for years to come.
Except for the ones in Spider-Man, fuck you, Joe Cascada.
Joe Casquada?
Joe Shitface.
So, I'll get to the two main problems that Civil War has.
Okay.
The first and most significant problem that Civil War has is that it sets up a dichotomy between these two sides, and then it never really defines what exactly either of them are fighting for.
No.
That's its biggest, most glaring flaw. And I think I said this last time. They should have just had an issue, like a comic that existed that you could buy for money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all it was, I'm just making sure there's no room for misinterpretation.
For Earth money.
For Earth money. And all that is in there is the text of the piece of legislation that Civil War is about.
Yeah.
Because they never actually settled on what exactly the Superhero Registration Act entails, each writer got to invent their own version of it in their head.
Yeah.
And then write comic issues about the version that existed in their head. And then you stick all those comics next to each other and they don't line up.
Well, yeah.
Beyond that, the thing that each side believes in is initially different. I mean, Stark starts from a perspective of, if we do not get in line with the government, they are going to go ahead without us and everyone's going to get shot and killed.
Yes.
Right? So then he sides with the government and deploys lethal force against his friends.
Yep.
And sets up an extra-dimensional super prison.
Yes.
And I don't think there's really anything worse the government could have done without Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and Hank Pym helping them.
Yeah. His
harm minimization strategy is a load of crap.
Yeah, he sets up Guantanamo Bay in the comic book universe.
Yeah, in the negative zone.
Oh, maybe that's what this whole thing is. It's a comment on.
Well, that is the other thing.
Oh, okay, go on then.
No, I'll finish the sides business first.
Sorry.
And Cap, the anti-registration heroes range from people who completely reject the government's authority to people who are theoretically okay with the idea of superheroes becoming federal employees, but which do not trust the government to not leak everyone's identity, because the American government has historically been very, very bad at not leaking the identities of its agents.
Yes.
To people who didn't hear about it, just generally weren't paying attention, and then got shot out of the sky by shield troopers.
Yep.
Who go by the name Cape Killers. I mean, You're not really winning the hearts and minds battle there, guys.
Nope.
So apart from the fact that no one... Oh, yeah. Okay. And the biggest cop-out is, in the final battle of Civil War, after which the... Oh, hang on. Let me step back one more moment.
Okay, all right.
I want to tackle these things in the right order.
Okay.
So, aside from it not being clear exactly what either side stands for...
Right.
And because, the inciting incident of Civil War is that a bunch of kids get blown up...
Yes.
In a super battle...
Yes.
All of the regular American people stuff just vanishes from the main book. I think it's mostly in Frontline.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone keeps invoking, oh, the people of America want this and want that, but you never see or hear from them.
There's no public forum on this either.
Well, yeah, I guess not, other than, there's a couple of issues about people complaining on the internet about superheroes.
Oh, people complain on the internet about everything, so that's not really a good indication about anything.
Also true. The other huge problem with Civil War is that it's actually a problem with fiction in general, which I only realized while reading this.
Right.
Writing heroes that are supposed to be super intelligent, not even heroes, just characters. If you're writing about characters that are meant to be much, much smarter than you,
Yeah.
you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's at the start of Civil War is that Tony Stark says, me and Richards are super smart and we can see the way that this is going to go.
Okay.
And because we're super smart,
And
we've determined that this is the best course of action. Yeah, essentially, because we're smarter than you, we know what's right.
Yeah.
Every single decision they make is wrong and
yeah.
stupid. And they do not win, ultimately, because they are smarter or because their plans were better. They win because, in the final battle, Captain America is tackled by a multi-ethnic crew of New York City public servants in the most egregious, hey guys, remember September 11, fucking manipulative bullshit I've ever seen. He's literally tackled by a firefighter, a paramedic,
Oh, God.
a doctor, a rescue worker.
I remember
a builder.
this.
Yeah. It's just this power. They're like, dude, you're hurting us. You're killing the city. Stop it, Cap. And he's like, what have I done?
Because I'm also from Brooklyn.
Fucking woeful. Because it was basically, okay, we've reached the end of the series. Captain America's faction is winning, but they're supposed to be the bad guys and they're meant to lose. So what can we do?
How are they
pull this out.
How are they the bad guys? How is anyone actually a bad guy in this?
Marvel editorial and Marvel's writers had, disagreements on who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. I mean, Reed Richards built a fucking clone of Thor.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember there being a lot of people mad about that.
In order to wield the Mjolnir, which makes no goddamn sense.
Well, yeah. Because it's not about... I mean, they make that joke in Avengers 2 about, it's whosoever... Like, Tony Stark makes that joke. Whosoever has the genetic code of Thor can lift Mjolnir.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's not true.
And,
it's like
the
none of you are worthy.
The only superhero casualty of the entire Civil War, I think, is Goliath, who is killed by Richard's monstrous Thor clone.
Yes, who doesn't actually think properly and just goes around roaring at people, doesn't he?
And murdering people with Mjolnir. I'm like, well done, Richards. Could your super brain have foreseen that eventuality?
Yeah.
So when you write characters that are meant to be smart, you have to be very, very careful what you use the smarts for. Like, if you say, for example, Reed Richards can build a device that can do X, then all you need to do to prove that Reed Richards is that smart is have him build the device.
Yeah, and have it work properly.
But if you say Reed Richards is super smart and you could foresee the outcomes of all of this stuff, and then he's wrong,
Yeah.
which will usually happen because you're not necessarily a good enough writer to make him get it right,
Yeah. That makes him sound like a Saturday morning breakfast villain.
then he looks like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And everyone on the pro-registration side comes out of this looking like a fucking idiot, while insisting that they are so smart, and they had it all planned out, guys, it's fine.
Yeah. And then Joe Quesada took over editorialship of Marvel and retconned a bunch of shit from Civil War.
No, I think Joe Quesada was in charge during all of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me dislike him even more.
What might be the only saving grace of Civil War, well, not the only saving grace, as I said, it's not irredeemable,
Right.
is that a lot of the stuff that that Iron Man and co. set up, like they have an initiative where there's a super team in every state,
Yeah.
and they have a super president, and they have like Mega Shield
Yep.
overseeing everything. I'm pretty sure all of that stuff gets subverted by Skrull sleeper agents.
Oh, this was right before that, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the next big crossover event. So ultimately, they were wrong.
Okay.
in the fullness of time,
So
they are shown to be the dicks.
Just so everybody knows, after the Civil War, there was about a year or so of ordinary comic booking, and then it turned out that half of the world's superheroes / S.H.I.E.L.D. agents / government officials were secret aliens.
Yeah. Which led into Secret Wars, or one of the Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion? I don't know.
I think it was Secret Invasion and the Secret War.
Other funny things to come out of Civil War. The Marvel heroes have absolutely no visual coherence.
No.
So when you have a fight scene between like 200 different Marvel characters, it just looks like someone threw up in MS Paint.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually really fun. Because when you get things like the cinematic universe, they all have sort of a unifying aesthetic. And every time there's a TV show of Marvel characters or DC characters, they tend to, get them all looking sort of like they belong in the same universe.
Well, yeah.
But characters from shared superhero universes, in comics particularly, are generally designed by different people across time spans of decades.
Yeah.
So they don't look like they belong together.
Oh, God, no.
Anyway, that concludes...
Yeah, so speaking of...
My initial impressions of Civil War.
Speaking of things that don't belong together, this.
Are you afflicted with mouth pain? Worms eating your teeth clean out of your head? Need a shave? Not having any luck with your filthy rag sprinkled with tooth powder? Visit the ironmongers out behind the butcher shop and see old iron guns, voted closest shave and cleanest pull-in of 1783, 84 and 85. Teeth drawn and old stumps removed on request.
And we're back.
Yes, we are. We're back in the show.
We're back in outer space,
Yeah.
which is fitting because the topic of this is space.
Specifically, Star Citizen.
Thank you, Sean,
No
for
worries.
rescuing me from my space burblings.
Yes. Gotta go. Love space. Gotta go to space. Hate space. Gotta go to Earth.
All right, Star Citizen. For those of you who have not heard us complain about Star Citizen before,
I think we only did it briefly once.
we weren't really complaining. I think we just mentioned it in passing.
Yeah.
Probably accused Chris Roberts of being a con artist.
Yeah.
Chris Roberts is allegedly a con artist.
Well, I guess we'll only find out once he files for bankruptcy.
Why don't you lay it down for us, Sean?
All right, Star Citizen was a Kickstarted project back in 2012, I believe, where it was basically...
Only 3 years in.
Yeah. So basically, Chris Roberts, who is some sort of entrepreneurial douchebag...
No, be fair. Chris Roberts was Wing Commander guy, for those of you who care about Wing Commander.
It's Wing Commander was kind of all right.
He also made Starlancer, I think, or maybe Freelancer. One of those.
Yeah.
Actually, both of those.
Okay. So he made some games, which were good.
Well, hang on. They're important for a reason, which is before the recent crop of space games, they were the last, basically, flying around in space games.
Yeah. And then there was a whole
Continue.
bunch. Then there was a whole bunch of games that weren't flying around in space, which were basically just, we'll make you travel between points in space and then do some mining, and then that's it. So he decided that he had a big vision for space games, and he wanted to return to that whole flying around space and making big spaceships and having big space battles and doing space stuff. Basically, all the cool bits about Star Wars and Star Trek that you can remember from being a kid in a game where you control everything.
In a great big MMO persistent environment.
Yeah. So he said, we need umpty bajillion dollars. And then they got umpty bajillion more dollars than what they needed. And he said, yeah, let's go make this game. And they've made bits and bobs, and they've put out bits and bobs so you can have a little your Starship garage and things like that. But basically, every time he checks in with the public who have paid money for this thing that he said he's going to deliver, he says, yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer because we made the thing bigger. And this week, a number of people shared concerns about about how he keeps saying this.
Yeah.
And then he came out on the Star Citizen website and was like, whoa, guys, look, you paid us money. It was a lot of money, admittedly. It was a lot of money, but we certainly didn't take it and put it in a bank account and then sit on that and go, we're making a game, okay? We're making a game, and this isn't this isn't your grandma's Starship game. This is balls out the best game ever. So stop hassling.
This ain't your daddy's TIE fighter.
Yeah, so stop hassling me, man. Stop hassling me. It'll come out when it comes out, all right? Chill, Winston.
Yeah, okay, with much less gratuitous overacting.
Yeah.
What he actually said was a couple of things. One of the points he made was that, guys, it's a crowd-funded game that we keep getting money for. Letting the scope expand forever with no limit is entirely the point.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Having I understand the the fact that you've come up with more ideas for your game and you really want to implement them and you want to make the game the best possible game you can make for the money you got. I get that. That makes sense. That appeals to me. But at the same time, you need to be able to deliver the game that you said you were going to deliver. So why not just make DLC or expansion packs or something like that, where you can introduce the things that you want to introduce now later on?
Well, that's kind of what they're doing. The way Star Citizen is being released, there is currently a part of the game called, I believe, Arena Commander.
Yeah.
Where you can fly around in space and shoot people. There is actually a space combat bit of it that exists.
And yeah, I think you mean Space Marine, and no, that's not out yet.
No, I don't mean Space Marine, I mean Arena Commander.
Oh, okay.
Space Marine is the first-person shooter module.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever that is called, which has not been released yet.
And keeps getting knocked back.
And keeps getting knocked back. The flying around in space bit also kept getting knocked back for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because it takes time to make things, and Robert's Space Industries doesn't seem to be super great at budgeting time.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's really not.
What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So, in terms of eternal scope creep, that's obviously a fucking stupid thing to say.
Well, yeah.
Which Chris Roberts should know better,
he should.
Being an alleged veteran of game development.
But also, we had the opportunity to listen to Chris Roberts speak, and he doesn't sound like someone who really cares about anyone else.
Oh, Chris Roberts is an arsehole. I think that goes without saying.
He doesn't care about what anyone else thinks. He thinks that his idea is the idea, and it's going to get done the way he wants it to be done. And it doesn't matter that the people who gave him all this money might have a few concerns about how long it's taking and how big this game seems to be getting, and how it might eventually collapse under its own weight.
Well, the other uncomfortable thing about this is that it's not the people who gave him money who have the concerns mostly.
Yeah.
Because they've... I don't want to use the word cult, Sean, but... people who don't think that Star Citizen is going to be a giant disaster tend to be people who have spent money on Star Citizen. In some cases, lots and lots of money.
And there's always the option to spend more money, too.
There is always the option to spend more money.
Yeah.
Star Citizen is currently at, I think, $85 million worth of crowdfunding.
Yep. That's exactly what the number is.
$85 million.
Of just crowdfunding.
Of crowdfunding. That's before, private investments of various kinds.
Yeah, before they even chuck in their own money, which I assume they're going to do. Hello?
Hi, yes.
Okay, you just thinking?
I was waiting for you to go somewhere.
Oh, no. No, I thought you were going to go further with your thing.
Well, I was, but then you interrupted me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
And I can't remember what I was saying.
Money. Lots of money.
$5 million. No, I've lost it. Say whatever you were going to say.
It's gone. Yeah, so that's just a figure at the moment. And every month or two, they release a new ship where you can pay...
Oh, yes, that's what I was going to say. Sorry. I remembered the thing.
Yeah, go
on. $85 million. That's a lot of money. That is more money than any other crowdfunded game has ever received.
Yes.
Space games, Sean,
yeah,
have comparatively few art assets compared to other games.
Yes, that's very true. Because
ambitious space games with really big ships do, in fairness, require you to design a bunch of crap of fairly high fidelity.
Yeah, and you also need to design at least a couple of planets so people can look at them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But the way that $85 million has been raised is concerning.
Okay.
There was a forum poll that was put up on the Star Citizen forums recently.
Yes.
Where someone just asked the question, hey guys, how much have you spent on Star Citizen?
Yeah. Which is, I think, a perfectly reasonable question.
It is a perfectly reasonable question, of course.
Yeah.
And the options are basically, the person who framed the poll realized that he had fucked up.
Right.
Because his options were like $0 to $50, $50 to $100, $100 to $200, $200 to $300, $300 plus.
Yeah.
It might have been $500 plus. I'll link to the actual poll in the show notes.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of respondents were in the highest possible tier.
Yes, they were.
As in hundreds and hundreds of people have spent multiple thousands of dollars on imaginary goods for a game that doesn't exist yet.
There are many people who have paid for this game that doesn't exist yet, have paid sums of money large enough to finance your first home.
Pretty much. And the attitude of these people in the forum post is like baffling. Oh yeah, I've spent $9,000. Don't tell the wife. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I think you should. I think you should tell your wife and then go to some sort of counseling session because you are addicted to buying fake shit.
You spent $9,000 on nothing.
Yeah. Like, not even nothing that you can show some art assets for. It's just nothing.
I mean, and in the same way as that that board game Kickstarter we talked about a while ago.
Well, yes.
It isn't actually fraud until they don't deliver on the thing.
Yeah.
But I would not be comfortable being in Robert's Space Industries' shoes right now.
No, I think...
Selling things that don't exist
I think,
to people who clearly have a problem.
I think the FCC should at least poke its head in the door and be like, hey guys, remember that thing that you promised you were going to deliver? Maybe we could have a look at the books and see if you haven't spent everything yet. Just a quick look.
I don't think they've spent everything yet.
Just a quick squiz. Come on.
Apart from my personal dislike for Chris Roberts, which is large, let's be clear.
Yeah, we heard him speak last year at PAX, and he was kind of a douchebag to people.
He's a douche. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Something with Star Citizen's name on it will eventually come out.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
It's probably going to be years still.
Yes.
Because they are still a very, very long way from...
Are they even halfway through development?
No, I don't think so.
Jesus. It's been 3 years.
This is also kind of the drawback of when you crowdfund things from the start.
Yeah.
Because most games will be in development for 3 or 4 years before you even hear about them.
Yes, that's true.
And then they start the hype cycle. It's like, hey guys, it's coming out. Like, wow, that's cool. I only heard of this 6 months ago, and now it's out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
But when you start from, we have nothing, give us $50 million, and then 4 years pass, 3 or 4 years pass with no game coming out, it feels like they're...
But during that 3 or 4 years, also saying, hey, you know those children you've got? I'd really like you to sell their organs so you can...
just mortgage your kids.
Yeah, so just so you can
give us more dollars.
Buy some more stuff from me that I can't give you yet.
Yeah. And the whole thing just feels shiftier the more of it you're exposed to.
Look, to be fair, it might just feel shifty because this is still really... It is still quite early days for this kind of crowdfunding. Or any real crowdfunding. It's still early. It's only been happening for the last couple of years anyway.
Yeah, well, what we're starting to see is an ever-mounting pile of Kickstarter disasters.
Yes. There needs to be some sort of regulatory committee.
If Star Citizen does fail in any spectacular way, it's probably going to spell the end of consumer confidence in...
Oh, hell yeah.
In big Kickstarter-y things.
Oh, my word, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kickstarter will just become another type of Patreon, really.
Star Citizen's not getting my money.
No, when the game is released, and if it looks any good, I might have a look. But until that point, they are not going to get anything other than my concern for my fellow man and my general disdain for Chris Roberts.
Yeah. So to recap, Chris Roberts is a dick,
Yep.
and Star Citizen has made way, way too much money, and people keep giving it more, and I wish they'd stop.
And you should really stop trusting the filthy, filthy words that come out of Chris Roberts' mouth.
What next have we got there?
You wanted to talk about another thing, didn't you?
I don't know, did I, Sean? Do you remember what it was?
No. Okay, I wanted to talk about, a little bit, about creepy stuff from games that you've found. And,
that's a super broad topic, Sean. Do you have a starting point?
But specifically, during the week, a bunch of people discovered some really weird sounds in Splatoon, which is a children's game.
Yes, I've heard the video of these alleged really weird sounds.
Yeah. And?
I'm Chris the Skeptic. Why don't you tell us the story of the weird sounds,
Okay,
Sean?
so the creator of the... Well, not the creator of the game, the guy who's super...
Oh, hang on. I'll play the sounds now. There we go. Those were the sounds.
Wasn't that spooky scary? Spooky, scary. So the guys over at Nintendo, specifically Tsubasa Sakaguchi, who is the director of Splatoon, said, I don't know where they came from, those sounds. We got really busy towards the end there, and this set of sounds may have been... I was, Sakaguchi says, doing a lot of work. And then towards the end, I got a little bit too busy, and I said, here, you, and you, go and do stuff so I can take a coffee break. And basically, then the game came out, and people discovered these creepy sounds in the final boss fight, or after the final boss fight. And it's like some weird... It sounds like basically someone dropping a pail down a set of stairs that seem to have been built in a well, while someone screams in the background and another guy punches some meat.
Well, the pail dropping noises are just the echoey, slow-motion footstep sound effects of the Splatoon character walking around.
Well, no, those sound like squelching on paint.
That's true. I don't think the sounds sound particularly creepy or interesting. They just sound like the kind of thing I would expect to be in, like, ambient dungeon noise.
Well, you don't expect it to...
in a final boss fight.
You don't expect it to be really in a children's game, though. Like,
why not?
That is a brightly coloured game where people shoot paint at each other.
Yeah, but the final boss fight is, like, in this nightmarish neon hellscape where everything's made out of equalizer bars and speaker stacks.
Okay.
It sounds entirely appropriate.
Okay, but the sound keeps going after you've defeated the boss.
Of course it does. It's the ambient noise of the environment.
Okay. Well, I wanted to know if you had...
I'm playing the role of spooky sound skeptic in this segment.
Well, I just wanted to know if you'd found any spooky stuff in games, like weird audio artifacts or something like that may have been caused by glitches, or anything that was actually put in the game that gave you the heebie-jeebies.
No, I've never been fortunate enough to find anything interestingly spooky in a game like that. There's actually a game called Eternal Darkness.
Right. Of the Spotless
For the
Mind.
GameCube, which is made by Silicon Knights, who are now defunct.
Oh.
That's a whole other story.
Okay.
But it's a horror game, and it plays with a lot of stuff like video, like your TV is going bad. Like it fakes a TV failure and it fakes a memory card failure. It does a lot of
that would be frightening in of itself.
Yeah, it does a lot of sort of meta-y stuff
right
in and around games to add to the horror.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. Video games as fodder for horror stories has been a thing for a while. The old internet creepypasta phenomenon.
Oh, boil creepypasta down for people who don't know about it.
Creepypasta is just a short, spooky story.
Yep.
So there's things like the Pokemon Black story.
Is that the one about the ghost?
Yeah, it's got like a ghost or a dead Pokemon or something.
Yeah, I think it's actually the ghost of a dead Pokemon trainer who's like a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, and there's the haunted Majora's Mask cart.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I think, the Ben drowned story.
Yeah.
A kid drowned while reading this cart.
While playing this game.
Creepypasta isn't really my thing, but
there's some really good creepypasta out there.
Video games are certainly fertile ground for horror.
Oh yeah,
because
that's I think the new set of urban legends are going to revolve around current media. Like you can see people trying to do it with things like there was a film that came out I think a year or so ago called VHS.
Well, yeah, but that's VHS tapes are inherently creepy.
Oh yeah.
Put anything on like a grainy, run over with a truck twice VHS video sort of look. Lots of grain, lots of the little tracking bar at the bottom.
Yeah.
Some weird noises. Scary as shit.
Oh yeah.
Chris Straub, who is
Chris Straub of ChrisStraub.com.
No, of ChainsawSuit.com.
And Brood
Nice
Hollow.
try. Did an entire series called Scared Yet.
Right.
As part of one of the Brood Hollow Kickstarters.
Yes.
Where he talks about creepypastas and horror, and he talks about this sort of lo-fi aesthetic that VHS cassettes and like security camera recordings and things have, which are just sort of inherently unnerving.
Yeah.
And work.
Well,
that's really cool. Once again, I'll link to it in the show description. Other people have done more interesting things than me.
Well, I thought just occurred to me. I think that because if you look back at old folklore and old ghost stories and things like that, a lot of it revolved around things like mirrors, things that captured images. And then eventually it was photographs, and now it's video games and recordable media. Capturing images of people.
Yeah, I think you've got something there. I think it's the old uncanny valley effect.
Oh, yeah.
With things that are like humans, but not humans.
There's something quite off about them. Not noticeably, but out of the corner of your eye, you feel a little bit unsettled when you play that game and you think, like, during the pause menu, that character might have moved slightly, might have looked at you funny while you moved across the room. Why did it do that? Maybe I should turn the lights on. Maybe I should go make myself some popcorn. Maybe I need to sit down and play a different game. Maybe I need to lock the doors.
Maybe this entire discussion was already done in a Cracked article like 5 years ago.
Fuck you, Cracked. We're allowed to have our own ideas.
They went through a bunch of creepy shit in video games.
Oh, okay.
Like there's this weird sad-faced monkey family on a hill in one of the Halo games.
What?
Yeah.
Sad-faced monkey family?
Yeah, it's a sad-faced monkey family.
Sad-faced monkey family? Wasn't that the name of your band in high school?
It was.
Okay.
So anyway, Splatoon is not haunted. The sound files are there because someone put them there, and they play because someone programmed them to play there. People are fucking idiots.
No, people just...
Oh, I don't know how it got there. Must be a mystery, guys.
Wow. Okay, so on top of being a skeptic, you're also a racist.
Not sure. No, pretty sure.
You did an accent there.
Was it a Japanese accent?
Well, does that make it more or less racist?
Confirmed, not racist.
Okay. Well, now I've forgotten what I was going to say. No, it's not that people are idiots, Chris, although a lot of them are. I think it's people just want a story to tell. I think they want a story to tell that they have either about themselves or a friend. They want to tell a story, and the new media is the way to tell it. So, yeah.
No, video games absolutely inspire stories.
Yeah.
Like, do you know the ice key in Banjo-Kazooie?
No.
There's an ice key in Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything in Banjo-Kazooie.
What does it do?
I just told you, it doesn't do anything in Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything in Banjo-Kazooie. What does it do?
It was intended to be used in Banjo-Tooie.
Oh, okay.
Because Banjo-Tooie was going to work like the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, where you flip open the top and plug a second cartridge in.
That's right, yeah.
But they didn't end up doing that.
Bummer.
This whole, like, video... partially implemented stuff in video games has existed since forever.
Forever?
And has inspired, stories and folklore, and guys, you can totally catch Mew if you just press A and you move the truck.
Yeah. You have to use strength on the truck 37 times in a row, and then Mew will appear, and you have to kick him in the dick, and then he'll fall into a Pokeball.
You know what the funniest part about that is?
Did you try it?
No, I didn't try it.
I tried it.
There is totally a way to catch Mew in Red and Blue.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
How? Actually, no, fuck you. I'll just look it up and play it myself.
No, there really is a way to catch Mew.
That's awesome.
It's a glitch, but you can catch Mew.
Well, I did it the super cool way by going to High Point Shopping Center and...
Oh, for the Pokemon Tour?
Yeah.
I went to the Pokemon Tour. My original Pokemon Red cartridge is just on my shelf over there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the battery backup has long ago died.
Oh, no, it definitely has.
But as long as I don't turn it on and check, my Mew still lives.
Yeah. Well, I got to the tour and realized that I was in the middle of the Elite Four.
Oh, yes.
So I was like, fuck, there's actually no way for me to do this. Shit.
What do you mean there's no way for you to do it?
No,
you can just lose.
Well, there was that, but there was also, I didn't have enough time. My mum took me there, and we came on public transport. We didn't have a car. So she was just like, yeah, look, we're going to be here for 15 more minutes because I got to do a thing. I'm going to leave you right here. And if you're not done in 15 minutes, you don't get that Pokemon. So we're leaving. So I was like, fuck. I just reset my game, quickly got to the point where I could get a Pokemon and have Pokemon traded to me, and then got a level 1 Mew.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a real bummer. But
You're an idiot. Child Sean is an idiot. There's no way it was quicker to go through the entire side of Pokemon again than it was to get out of the Elite Four. No way.
Yeah, probably
I'm
not.
sorry, Sean, you wasted your save.
No, it's fine, because then I got that Mew up to level 100, and then I went and caught all 150 Pokemon. You
rocked everything because Psychic Pokemon were hilariously overpowered in Gen 1.
Pretty much. But that'll do for now. I bet Psychic Pokemon predicted this ad.
Dear Mr. Shakespeare, I was supremely disappointed to observe your latest Vine at the Globe Theatre. Surely, man, you know the medium of the vine is a mere 4 seconds. The vine you served up was almost 4 hours in length, with dozens of actors and thousands of costumes. And then, part-way through the vine, you attempted to do a sound cloud. But there was no music, just a man talking of a spectral dagger. I counted myself amongst your greatest supporters, but I can no longer give you my upvotes, Mr. Shakespeare. Unsubscribe. Welcome back to Comedy Bronze.
Yep, it's segment 3 time.
I really enjoy that awkward moment where we're not quite sure who is going to lead us back in from the break.
Yeah. That's definitely the way every third act of everything should start.
Exactly.
Like with a halting...
Was it
hesitance.
not Shakespeare who said...
hang
on.
Guys,
No,
wait.
I thought you were going to go... Is it me? Oh, all right.
Dost thou, mother, know you are weareth her drapes?
So we've been playing a little video game called Ark, Survival Evolved.
Which the basic concept of, when they were probably talking about it, was, hey guys, remember that Dino Riders cartoon? Wouldn't it be cool if we made a game of that, but you could sit on it with a T-Rex with a machine gun.
You can sit on it.
You can sit on it. Keep on it.
I don't think you can actually have guns on dinosaurs in this. So it's not quite like Dino Riders, but it's close.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's still in alpha. It's only been out in alpha for about 2 months now.
I think its main premise was, hey guys, remember how DayZ was so friggin' possible? Friggin' popular?
Yeah.
What if we had that with dinosaurs instead of zombies?
Yeah. Life finds a way.
I thought your mind had broken. I was waiting to get to the end of that. So Steam currently has about 5 million different survival games.
Yeah.
Many of them in early access.
Yes.
Most of which are absolute dreck.
Yes.
Because everyone saw that DayZ was really popular, and then Rust came out, and that was inexplicably popular as well.
Yep, because you hated
So everyone jumped on the survival bandwagon, usually the zombie survival bandwagon.
Yep.
And Ark's a little bit different.
Yep, because they went for what would happen if you just survive, if you woke up on an island with dinosaurs?
It's kind of it.
Yeah.
So tell us about Ark, Sean.
So, my first experience with Ark started about 2 weeks ago, where a couple of guys at work were telling me that they'd started the tribe pretty much on day one of the release of Ark. And they've been playing, and they'd set up a base, and they're trying to get as many people in from our work as they can, because it's easier when you've got more people working towards one goal. And I said, yeah, look, basically everything I've seen about survival games has really never really interested me. And they said, Sean, it's like Minecraft with dinosaurs. And I said, yes, I'm in!
It's actually almost nothing like Minecraft.
I know it's not like Minecraft, but they got me in with the dinosaurs. And
yeah.
I have had a lot of fun. There have been a couple of down moments. Not long after I joined the tribe, our base got raided and mostly destroyed, and all the cool things that we had there were killed and set fire to, or wandered off into the jungle and were never seen again. Which was sad, because I just started to get comfortable with the way everything was set up there. But then I had a hand in helping find and start our new base, which is in this lovely little location, and I won't describe it too much, because if I describe it too much, people who may listen to this and play Ark might come and try and hurt us. So don't do that, because I like where we are, and it's very nice.
They'd have to find us on one of the hundreds and hundreds of Ark servers that exist.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
It's
true.
fairly unlikely.
That's true. So we've just set it up, and we've got a thriving little base going at the moment. There's about a dozen of us now. We've all got our own little animals. We've got a shitload of dodos just wandering around the place that are all named after different types of food. Alex.
Yeah, so Ark's main difference from games of its ilk is animal taming, basically.
Yes, and they're introducing new dinosaurs and new animals every other week.
Yeah, because it's an alpha and it's not finished, obviously.
Yeah.
So taming and then riding around on prehistoric fuckery. All right, let's resume.
Okay.
You were talking.
Actually, you were.
Oh, yeah. So the thing that makes Ark different is it's all about taming dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And other prehistoric animals.
Yes.
And basically, you can upgrade your personal equipment in various ways, but if you've got a T-Rex, none of that shit matters. You just run around eating people.
Yeah. We've got 2 T-Rexes now.
Double T-Rex, all the way across the T-Rex.
It's the second one's not called Mark Bolan. I need to change this.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You not remedied that already?
Because I think it's one particular person's one, so I'll just rename Lyle's.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what do you like about Ark, Sean?
Well, I like the fact that there's a bunch of us all working together. Now, I'm not the highest level person in our guild, in our tribe. The 2 or 3 highest people are the guys that have been playing since day 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like level 60 or 70. I'm only level 35 as of yesterday. So I'm in the mid-range for our tribe.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of stuff I can't do yet. But I can contribute by jumping on my bird that I tamed yesterday, which is basically just a giant prehistoric vulture, called Blathers. That's how you have to say his name, Chris.
I'm not saying his name.
Say it.
I'm leaving you alone to flounder in this awkward silence.
Blathers.
Oh, Sean is not making sex eyes at fictional birds.
He's flying up to the top of a mountain and harvesting crystal and metal, and then weighing his bird down, so it takes a really, really long time to get back down the mountain. and occasionally his bird's stamina will conk out, and it will fall into a torpor, and Sean will fall off the bird and die twice.
Mistakes. I've made a few.
Yeah, although I did enjoy, while going up to the mountain this morning, I saw a character that was clearly voiced by an 11-year-old girl who had jumped off the top of the mountain and was parachuting the whole way down.
Awesome.
And all she said to me as she passed was, "I'm flying!" And I said, "Yes, you are. Have a good day." And then flew off. So it's stuff like that that really makes me enjoy Ark. Like, clearly everyone has discovered things that make them feel good about playing this game. Like going to the top of a mountain and parasailing down. Or there are some people who enjoy being dicks and annoying other people. But I choose to ignore them and find solace in the fact that I can just fly anywhere in the goddamn world on my bird. I had so much fun flying around yesterday before I started work that I got lost and had to ask Lyle to tell me how to get home.
Excellent flyer, not so great navigator.
No. Well, I got lost because I landed and stole... There's a giant dinosaur in the game called a Spino. And they're pretty much like the most dangerous dinosaur in the game. And I landed next to one and stole its egg, and then it started chasing me.
Eggs are not even good for anything. Why would you do that?
No, they are good for something now, Chris. They've just introduced a type of recipe that you can create called dino kibble. And there's varieties of kibble which require different eggs and different other ingredients. And kibble has now become the favorite food of all animals, and it makes it much, much easier to tame animals with kibble as well. So when we want to go after things like T-Rexes and Spinos, rather than feeding them just meat, you give them kibble as well, and it reduces the taming time by like half.
So Ark doesn't really have any goal other than having all the dinosaurs.
Having all the dinosaurs and having fun is my goal. I want to have fun, and I want to build a cool base, which we are starting to do, and I'm contributing to by getting lots and lots of resources for us. I've already collected like 1,000 metal today.
Sean likes contributing to the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I'm part of a socialist order.
Yeah, I don't.
No, Chris is a wild card. He's a rebel without a cause. And his character...
Look, that's not true. I'm basically just an asshole.
And his character certainly isn't racist at all.
No, not remotely.
No. What's the character's name, Chris?
The name of my character is Thorin Tokenshield.
Yep. And what does he look like?
He looks like a black dwarf with overdeveloped arms.
You say that like it's normal.
That's what everyone's character looks like.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Fine.
No, it's not.
It's fine.
It's not fine.
So, look, I'm kind of having fun in Ark.
Yeah. Chris has come up with his own game.
I'm not playing it as much as you are, obviously, because...
No, I'm going to go play it once we're done here.
I have never been able to get behind your strange fascination with grinding.
Yeah.
Whether it's in MMOs or...
Well, it's usually just because I put on music
just...
or I put on a podcast and just listen to that while I'm doing things, and I have fun. I make my own fun.
Yeah.
I make my own fun. Because I was that lonely kid in primary school who had to make his own fun. I had a lot of imaginary friends because I didn't have any real ones.
I tend to get cranky and resentful in these games.
You tend to get cranky and resentful if you haven't eaten on time.
Thank you, Sean. So, prior to Ark, I played a game called Rust.
Yeah.
Rust is one of the worst games I've ever played.
Yeah. Is it the worst game you've ever played because you're not very good at it and everyone was mean to you? Or is it one of the worst games you've ever played because it wasn't well designed? Or was it
all
a bit
of those.
Okay.
All of those reasons.
Okay.
When you look at games where if you die, you lose everything...
Yes.
They tend not to be multiplayer games.
Right.
Because giving other players the ability to just take everything away from you is usually not a lot of fun for the person on the losing side of that transaction.
Yeah, that's true, and I agree with that.
So the EVE Online, for example, when your ship is destroyed in EVE Online, you lose everything.
Otherwise known as space accounting.
Yes, spreadsheets among the stars.
Yes.
You lose everything in your ship, but it's possible to have, or very likely that you'll have, resources and material stashed away safely in space stations, so you can keep some stuff in between lives.
Yes.
Rust was a survival game set on an irradiated island.
Yes.
With a really, really, really aggressive hunger mechanics.
Right.
And a resource spawning system that was based around proximity to players. Okay. So what would happen is if you spawned in a deserted area, there would be no resources.
Right.
And frequently you would just starve to death before you ever found anything.
Oh dear.
More specifically, you would starve to death before you got the resources necessary to build a respawn point.
Oh.
So Ark has sleeping bags and beds, which are things you can respawn at.
Yes.
Rust had the concept of a sleeping bag, which you could respawn at, and basically it was not worth doing anything until you had a sleeping bag. Because as soon as you died, you would lose everything you'd built.
Right.
But actually getting a sleeping bag was really, really hard, because the only thing that dropped, cloth... Was it cloth or animal? It was animal hides, basically, you needed. Right. And there were very, very few animals.
Right.
And the high-level players would just walk past and shoot you, and then you lose everything. So I rage quit Rust.
As you do.
And stopped playing it. Yeah. Ark, I think, improves in many ways on that formula.
Right.
The most significant, which is kind of weird, because it actually makes players shitter than in Rust.
Right.
Because in Rust, you can just build anything.
Right.
Whereas in Ark, the crafting recipes, which are called engrams, are locked until you get to a certain level.
Yes.
So you start off knowing no engrams, and then you run around and you whack some trees, then you learn an engram, and then you die, but you've still got the engram. So even though it's like illusory progress, you still technically got something out of that life.
Yes.
Can I take a drink?
It definitely encourages group play, this game.
Well, it doesn't encourage group play, it mandates group play.
Oh, okay.
Which is the point where I kind of disagree with it.
Okay. So, because you're a lone wolf?
Well, yes. Also, I'm surly and I don't like making friends on the internet. Well, yes, I would describe myself as a lone wolf.
You don't have to make friends on the internet, Chris. We play with people from work.
That's true, but even so, look, I do not get anything in particular from striving towards a common goal.
Okay.
Like, guys, we need to go gather 10,000 wood so we can build a slightly higher house.
Well, at the moment we're gathering resources so we can improve our defenses for our base.
Yeah, look,
and then eventually populate that valley out the back. And I want to make a snail racing track because they're going to introduce snails soon.
Snail racing will be entertaining.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not big snails, which I really wanted.
As I was mumbling.
Although in their book, like they have these little like dossiers on every animal. In the dossier for the snail, they refer to them as a land mollusk.
Land mollusk. It's a type of mobile oyster we've just discovered.
Yeah, and apparently there's good eating on them.
So the group play requirements in Ark are like you just look at the resource costs of things.
Yeah.
And you're like, this gate requires 60 wood to build, or 100 wood, or 1,000 wood, or whatever. And you're like, you could make this a game where a single player could build a large, intricate base.
Yeah.
All you would need to do is dial down the resource costs of all these things.
Right.
But they didn't. Like, they just arbitrarily make them huge so as to force group play or require you to spend hours and hours doing boring shit. The same is true of dinosaur taming.
Right.
Where, like, the high-level dinosaurs can take, like, 12 hours or something to fully become tamed.
Yes.
Which is virtually impossible for a single player to do. So it's you require a tribe or a group in order to do it.
If you're playing by yourself on your own game rather than playing online, you can actually turn down the difficulty of that.
Ah, that's an adjustable thingamabob.
Yeah. So if you're playing by yourself, you can make taming easier, you can make resource gathering easier, you can make it so that your hunger and water levels decrease slower or faster. It's up to you.
Yes, but then we hit the other problem, which is that in addition to not really getting anything from working in a group, I love griefing people in online games.
Yes, even though you complain incessantly about other people griefing.
Yes. No, I don't complain incessantly about other people griefing.
No one's allowed to do it but you.
Yes, this is how it works, Sean. Both Ark and Rust have this mechanic where when you log out, your character just loses consciousness and stays there.
Yeah. Usually folded up on themselves like some sort of ugly...
Yeah, they ragdoll into a
like some sort of ugly
shape.
easy chair that had hands and feet and a face.
So if I come across a sleeping person, I take all their things and eat them.
Yes.
Because that's what you can do in Ark.
Yes, you cook and eat them, and they are delicious. Or you feed them to your animals.
I think maybe Rust did this to me, because in Rust, like, I virtually never got to achieve anything. I just got killed every time I respawned.
Rust ruined you for other survival games.
So in Ark, every time I murder a person, I consider that life to be a win. Because I have inflicted fractionally more misery on other people than I have received.
Oh, okay. So, Chris, you've come up with your own game within Ark. What's the game that you're going to play?
Well, the game I'm currently playing in Ark is called Hey, You Can Make Signs, and they're pretty cheap, and you can put whatever words on them you like.
Yes.
So I am running around the island leaving helpful warning notices.
Such as?
Sand is hot.
And?
Trees are poisonous.
And I'm going to kind of help him do this. I'm going to pick him up with my bird, because you can pick up other players with your birds and drop them off. So basically, in between me mining, if Chris is online, I'll just dump him in various places around the world and let him go crazy with signage.
So I'm basically going to become... some people would compare me to Banksy, but...
Yes, you're the video game Banksy, Chris.
The video game Banksy.
Yeah. That's definitely
I'm just going to become a 2-bit graffiti artist and get my kicks that way.
Yeah. Eventually working our way up to giant neon signs, because I think there are neon signs in the game, Chris.
The tech trees of these games are always ridiculous. It's like, Tech 1, a rock. Tech 2, an assault rifle. You're like, I feel like we skipped a step there.
Tech 3, space nukes. Yeah, like, I've been playing the game for 40 hours now, so I can ride my pterodon into space and shit out a planet.
Nice. Hey, do you want to play some Ark after this?
Well, I'm going to play some Ark.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can definitely give you some hand. Give you some hand? That sounded dirty.
Give me some hand, sure.
Give me 5. Yeah, I can give you a hand dropping you off. There's a couple of bases near where I'm mining at the moment, so you can put out signs outside their bases.
I like placing signs.
Yeah.
I'm a man of simple pleasures.
Yeah. Also, one of the funniest things in the game is the fact that you can't stop pooping.
That's true. Your character needs to poop.
And so does all the animals.
And
Chris, what was the interesting factoid you found out about eating animal poop?
Yeah, so it turns out that if a brontosaurus takes a shit in front of you and you run up to that poo and eat it, you will die. Turns out that's too much poop for the human body to handle, and you will just curl up and die from poop.
You sounded so happy about that fact too. I had a giant poo and died. This is the best adventure park ever.
It's quite top notch.
Yeah. So if you guys want to come and play Ark with us, we've got a tribe. You guys.
You want to play Ark with us? Don't. Go away.
You can email us at thirdplacejoke@gmail.com and we might send you out the details so that you can come play Ark with us. It's like $30 on Steam.
No, it's like $40. Steam prices are currently really bad because the Aussie dollar is in the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
So everything's like twice as much as it looks like it is.
Okay, yeah. So it's like $40 on Steam.
Yeah.
It is a pretty graphics-intensive game. Although if you load it from inside your Steam library rather than a desktop icon, you can reduce the amount of memory that it uses.
Which also turns off the pointless ground clutter.
Yeah. So, aside from an initial stutter when you first get into the game, where it's like, oh, crap, there's a big world I got to load. And then it does that. After that, you're good to go. And everything loads just fine. And, I forgot to tell you, Chris, with my tax money, I'm going to buy a new graphics card.
How exciting, Sean.
Yeah, so I'll buy a new graphics card and I'll be able to play it on maybe medium graphics rather than low, which is what I've got it on at the moment.
I'm going to not buy a new graphics card because I don't know how much tax money I'm getting.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a bummer.
All right, so that about wraps things up for Comedy Bronze this week. Now, there may be a little surprise.
Ooh.
In the podcast feed.
Oh, for our listeners?
For our listeners.
Or for me. Do I get a surprise?
It's the thing. It's the fucking... You already know what it is, Sean.
Do I?
Oh, my God.
I'm very forgetful.
It's like conversations. We have a little bit of extra storage space left over for this month.
Oh, right. Yes. No, now I know. Sorry.
Yeah, and we're maybe going to record a thing, which will be a little bit different to our usual offerings.
Yep.
But we hope that it appeals to someone.
Yep. And you guys definitely shouldn't make fun of it because Chris will be working hard on it.
Well, Chris will be working on it. That much is...
No, I know you, Chris. You'll invest a little bit of your tiny, 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 tiny heart into it.
We'll see. Just trying something a little different.
So when do we hope to have that up? By the end of the week, maybe?
Well, by the end of the month, because that's when the bandwidth rolls over, so we've got to make sure we do it before then.
Okay, so by the 31st. So by Friday. We're going to have it up by Friday, whatever it is we're doing.
30 days, have September, April, June, and it's July, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's 31.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's the 31st. I looked at the calendar in the bottom of my computer right there.
All right. Thanks very much for listening, everybody.
Yep.
Have a good something.
Yeah. Enjoy your week.
Yet another huge ending. What the fuck? Who put that water bottle there? Hey everyone, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Comedy Bronze. But if you were offended by Sean's flagrant racism, or if you just have a question you want to ask us, why don't you send an email to thirdplacejoke@gmail.com. That's kind of a crap way to end. Stay frasty.